Welcome to Relation Tales. Please like this video and subscribe Relation Tales. My wife is 27 and I am 33. We dated for a year before getting married 6 months ago. We met online, went on a few dates, got serious, and then got married. When a very attractive girl shows interest in me and says she loves me, I get excited. I was so happy I couldn't see clearly. Before this, I would have done anything for her, and she knew it. I work a lot because I own a small business and travel frequently for work, so I was never home during the week. I was making $150,000 a year before taxes, and she didn't work, so she depended on me completely. She's a bit lazy, but I allowed it. She also never really liked cooking, cleaning, or taking care of the house, so I wasn't surprised that not much got done. 6 months into our marriage, my wife told me she was pregnant. I had to stop everything and come home. The next day, I took her to a clinic, and they confirmed she was 2 months pregnant. A week later, I came home from the office to grab something I needed for work. Her car was in the garage, so I knew she was home. I heard noises coming from the bedroom and followed the sound. Before I reached the bedroom, I already suspected what was happening. They made it easy for me by leaving the door open. I walked in and saw her with another guy. She said, "It's not what it looks like," even though she was 2 months pregnant at the time. Words can't explain how I felt seeing her with another guy in our bedroom. I had been preparing myself to become a dad. I have built my world around her, doing everything to make her comfortable, and there she was, sleeping with another man in my bedroom. Now I know what she's all about. They both looked at me as I looked at them in shock. I turned around and walked away from the room as she jumped off his horse to tell me that I didn't see what I just saw, like I was some stupid dimwit. I composed myself and went ahead and grabbed what I needed. Before I left, I turned around and told her that she should be gone when I got back. I was a mess as I drove back to work. My mind was somewhere else, and I was lucky that I didn't have an accident. I thought about all the times she said she loved me and realized it was all lies. I honestly had no clue. But my job and being away during the week made it easier for her to cheat. She played her role well, and I never suspected a thing. She wanted me to support her during the pregnancy and then raise another man's child. She was blowing up my phone and leaving voicemails, but I didn't answer. When I got to the office, I called a friend who waited a couple of hours and then went to my place. My friend told me she had left and taken some essentials with her. After that, I went to Home Depot and changed all the locks. I found out she was staying with her family, so I called my attorney and delivered her divorce papers. My dad gave me crucial advice: keep my mouth shut. He told me not to answer calls from her friends or family and to be polite if I heard from mutual friends. If the conversation turned to the divorce, I should say nothing and let him speak for me. Reacting to her family could be used against me, and my dad made sure I didn't say anything I'd regret. He was right. I didn't want to start anything, but they could have, and then blamed me. We arranged for her to text me when she wanted to pick up her things. The following weekend, my friend stood in for me while she took the rest of her stuff. She hit back by hiring a divorce lawyer and asking for $20 a month in alimony for 5 years. She claimed the baby was mine, needed money to support herself, and wanted me to keep her on my health insurance. It was crazy. I could have gotten really angry when I saw her demands, but luckily my attorney told me first. He explained she might think she'll get this, but it won't happen. I didn't mind sharing things we got during our marriage because I just wanted her out. But I wasn't going to pay her monthly for 5 years for her bad behavior, keep her on my health insurance, or raise a child that's not mine. No way. She can get support from the guys she was with. When I spoke to my attorney about how to get around the alimony and all the extra stuff because I wasn't looking forward to doing that, he was concerned that she didn't work. Before taxes, my annual income was $150K. She was therefore almost entirely dependent on me for her existence. We maneuvered, of course, to get it completely struck, and that is what happened. But he was worried that if we weren't able to strike it and drastically lower it as a result of what she did, it wouldn't really be documented or likely be statistically verifiable. But basically, he told me that most of the courts favor the women. He fears that her attorney would paint me as an enabler and that it was my fault she cheated. I was never there during the week. Never mind that we were together for almost a year prior, and it's not like the job was new. I have been at it for over 3 years at that point. The only difference may have been that maybe I work an hour less or so during then, but it was still 60 hours a week usually. It's 60 to 80 now, 6+ years later, so if I had not caught her, she would be more enabled now, supposedly. That's why he went in strong. Turned out to probably be overkill. But I have to be honest, I am a computer geek, so I have to go with what he told me. He was the one with experience in it. And obviously, he wasn't the one with 100% win record as well, so he knew what was up. My attorney was looking for evidence of infidelity to help my case in the divorce, so he recommended that I hire a PI to gather some more evidence we could use in court to help though I paid him directly. $2K. To say that he did his job well was an understatement. He handled everything so well that I hoped I'd never have him against me in a similar situation. He checked up on me too, not like he did with her, but just to make sure I wasn't hiding anything, for the attorney's sake. If we divorced and I couldn't prove she was at fault, I would have had to support her for a few years, usually around 5. But it could be until she remarried, though that's rare nowadays. Not long after hiring the PI, he caught her with the same guy I found her in bed with. I should have canceled my credit cards, which she had access to. That night, she maxed them out with her lover, spending around $5,000. These weren't high-limit cards. They were just for boosting my credit score. I'd been living off cash for a while because I was earning well, which is why I forgot about the cards. A month later, she called me. The PI found out she had been cheating throughout our entire marriage and even before it. He found 2 guys she had been with and dumped. They agreed to sign affidavits with my attorney. The investigator also took a lot of pictures as evidence. From the testimonies from the affair partners, we found out that my 60-80 work week played right into her plans. She didn't screw around on the weekends, and the boyfriend she had knew it. It was well planned out by her. When the private investigator talked to the 2 that she had ticked off enough to write affidavits, they were pretty open about that. You didn't call her or text her unless she did first, etc. The PI is what saved me. He was able to locate prior people she had dated, and 2 of them were mad enough to sign sworn statements stating that she cheated on me and knowingly doing things to prevent me from knowing. I think alimony in some situations works. Like in a relationship where the man or woman makes significantly more money than the other or the one spouse doesn't work, and they are married for 10+ years. The spouse not working or not making much would be a disadvantage in the job market. Because of large breaks in unemployment, most employers will look at that and hire someone more recently employed. In that case, I would understand supporting income for say half the duration of the marriage term. But in my case, she's the one who cheated. I didn't see it. I wasn't going to reward her for her deception and behavior that ended it. The PI took pictures of her out with a lot of guys, mostly proving her behavior. They were not really needed, but part of the process is tracing back by talking to some of them and getting 2 of them who felt jilted by her because she dumped them were the ones that influenced the judge's decision. They not only stated that they were with her during the time we were married and Juan was seeing her prior to our wedding also, by the way, but they also stated that she was deceiving me not to call during weekends when I was home, never coming to the house. Don't call me till I call you. Roughly a month after I kicked her out, the PI discovered during his investigation that she went to a club and gang banged about 10 guys in the back room. She must have been 3 months pregnant back then. I basically had no contact with her from the moment I caught her till our court date. I did have calls from her family, harassing calls, I might add, and my ex-father-in-law called about a month after it was finalized, and she lost, accusing me of ruining his daughter's life. I gave him a chance to vent before offering to have the lawyer email him a copy of the information the PI gathered. She represented me as her, of course. She caught me in bed with one of her female friends when I was the one dozing off. Thus, he consented. After my lawyer forwarded the information, which included the males' names that had been withdrawn and similar details, he contacted me back around 2 weeks later to apologize for yelling at me. After that, her family no longer communicated with me. But basically, the private investigator was the one who found out everything. He did the research and the attorney was the one who got it all legally formatted and ready for the hearing. At least according to my attorney at the time, the court always favors the females, especially in situations with children, which I kinda get. So I was lucky I dodged the bullet. But his statement to me was that we're going to have to prove beyond the shadow of a doubt that she was the cause of this divorce to get the amount reduced. Luckily, with the help of the private investigator and some people she pissed off along the way, we were able to do so. I still make lawyer jokes, but honestly, they are worth every penny and more. However, I would never joke about a good private investigator. He found things I never knew about. During the divorce, I didn't seek compensation from her for running up my credit card. I made good money, about $150K a year before taxes then, and now $250K. So, I just paid off the charges and accepted it as my mistake. Since I didn't cancel the cards, I was legally responsible for the charges. Going after her for the money would have been pointless. I would have never seen it. I basically wanted out of it, which is why I let her take her stuff, and most of the stuff we got as wedding gift and the stuff I bought her. I wanted her out of my life. I wanted reminders of our marriage, out of my house, etc. The only thing I didn't want to do was pay her $2,000 a month for around 5 years, which is the average my attorney said happens or have anything to do with her unborn child. I felt that would have been an insult to me. I would have been rewarding and indulging her behavior. And basically, I would be funding it some more for the term that I had to pay it. As for the rest of it, I was willing to eat the cost in exchange for it to be final and her out of my life. I fell for what I believed was a game she was playing as well. That was one of the costs I ate to ensure that I would get done in the time frame required. At the time of that divorce, it took 6 months and 1 day in California to complete the process entirely. It's now something like 6 weeks if there's no contest. Supposedly, my divorce was emotionally hard, and I don't look for sympathy. When I talk about it, I hope that maybe someone else will learn from it or maybe see signs that I didn't see. I can think back now sometimes and think, maybe that was a sign and I was too blind to see it. I do still analyze and continue to analyze it. I know a lot of people who unfortunately seem to not only like to create the battle, but enjoy it when it gets worse. I just wanted out and didn't have time to really do that kind of thing. At the point I caught her, it went from me working hard for us back to working hard for myself, which I think in the long run helps things. I had more time to myself. It would probably have been more tempting, the attorney all told. It cost about $12,000 or 6 months of alimony. The attorney told me I would have probably have to pay her for about 5 years monthly, so I saved quite a bit on that for sure. It's possible it could have gone longer than that had the judge ruled for it. Basically his call. She didn't get the $2,000 a month once the judge saw all this at the final hearing to finalize the divorce. After the divorce was final, I haven't seen her again. But I know she's in Arizona because she tried to get credit in my name there 3 times. I don't know if she decided to keep the pregnancy, but I am highly positive that it wasn't mine. She was most likely trying to get me to raise another man's baby. I got played and I will admit it. I don't deny my role in it for sure. I think every day she has to live makes it harder on her. Although she doesn't know me anymore, obviously. She knows that she had it well, but she played her game and lost. I kept right on going, slowly growing the business I partially owned and my income as well. I think her knowing that possibly finding out someday, or maybe through the grapevine, she could very well still communicate with some of our common friends. But I don't ask them if she does. Yeah, she hurt me. Yeah, she tried to insult me. She wanted money as a reward, but she didn't get it, and I'm still going strong. I think that's a harsher punishment than anything else. Death would be too easy for someone like her. Some people think I should have reacted differently when I caught them in my bed instead of walking away. I understand what they're saying. I was there, and I thought about it. But later, I realized it was best to turn around and walk out. Instead of starting a fight or worse, I could have easily gotten physical. I'll be the first to admit that I got scammed. The more I think about it, the more I believe she never loved me. I was just a meal ticket for her. I'll admit my part in it. I set things up perfectly for her by never being home during the week. When I did come home, I was exhausted and ready for bed. All she had to do was make sure she got home before me and was asleep when I arrived. I always told her about my schedule, so she knew where I was. I was tricked and went along with it. I'm just relieved that my recent STD test came back clear. Second story, I need advice. Is this cheating? Long story short, my boyfriend still talks online to a woman he slept with while he was on holiday last year. We didn't know each other then. We started dating in March 2024. One night at 2 a.m., he got a video chat request from her. I asked him not to talk to her. A few days later, he got a parcel from her, just random stuff. I didn't know they had slept together yet. When I asked about it, he said he just knew her. I asked if it was all platonic, and he said yes. I asked directly if they had slept together, and he finally said yes. I told him that I wasn't comfortable with this woman, who calls him baby, sends him parcels from another country, and calls him all the time. I said it should be more important for him to focus on us rather than keep a connection with her. He just said okay. He thinks I'm trying to tell him what to do. But surely it's common sense that this is not okay, and it would make me uncomfortable.